welcome to this very good evening to all. Welcome to this fourth meeting of our series on Code of Ethics from WRC. As you are all must be aware, WRC is organizing a monthly program on Code of Ethics, and today we shall be discussing some very important aspects of our Code of Ethics, which possibly touch our daily practice. But before we start and I brief you all on the topic, we'll first come to attention for the ICI motto. Mishra ji, can we have the ICI motto, please?
Yaesha supteshu jagrati. Yaesha supteshu jagrati. Kamam 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 kamavusho vusho nirmimanaha nirmimanaha tadeva shukram brahma tadevamritamuchyate tasmin lokaha shataha sarve tadunatyati kaschan etadvaita
Thank you. With me on the screen, CA Parag Raval, our respected faculty for today's program. CA Sanjay Nikam, my colleague at the Regional Council, and all my dear participants, a very warm welcome to all of you. Friends, Code of Ethics in today's scenario has been increasingly gaining more and more importance in our daily practice. And possibly a lot of more awareness needs to be created because there are several issues where we are struggling to find answers. And today is one such topic, responding to tenders, empanelment, charging of fees, other types of remuneration, sharing of fees. These are things which we face on a daily basis. And possibly the Code of Ethics has answers to all of this, what we can do, what we can't do. But yes, a lot of us may not be absolutely aware of the provisions, and with the increasing focus on ethical practices, it's more and more important for all of us to be abreast of the latest situation on these areas. Institute has come out with several pronouncements on these issues, and we need to be very, very well aware of this. And I believe we could not have had a better faculty for this than CA Parag Raval. It's a pleasure to introduce him. Of course, he's a very dear friend and a practicing chartered accountant into practice for more than 30 years. Currently associated with Kandar Mehta and Shah, a leading CA firm in Ahmedabad, and he plays a key role in the Ellis Bridge CP Study Circle of Ahmedabad since 2005, which has won the Best Study Circle Award for 11 times. He's a co-opted member of the Corporate Law and Corporate Governance Committee of ICI for 22-23. And also the convener of Corporate and Allied Law Committee of Ahmedabad branch for 22-23. He was a past regional council member, has held for 2 terms. He was a vice chairman of WRC in 2013-14. He was a treasurer of WRC in 2010-11. He was the chairman of Baroda Ahmedabad branch in 2007-8 and the branch was awarded the best branch and best Vikasa during his tenure. And his the list of his achievements goes on and on. He has been an instrumental part of several committees of WRC and also has held several positions with the CA Association in Ahmedabad. So with these few words, I would like to introduce our today's faculty, CA Parag Raval, and I would like to extend a very, very warm welcome to him. Parag bhai, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much, Ram.
Thank you for accepting our invitation to address this meeting. I'm sure all of the participants will be immensely benefited from your knowledge. Friends, Parag bhai has been speaking on Code of Ethics at all over India on since last few years, and I really believe that one of the very few people who we can consider as an authority on the ICI Code of Ethics. So Parag bhai, welcome. I hand over the
Thank you.
session to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Honorable Regional Council Member C.A. Rahul Parikh, Honorable Regional Council Member C.A. Sanjay Nikam, entire team of WRC by ICI, and all the participants to this lecture meeting. First of all, I sincerely apologize for the technical snag on my part. You cannot see me, but I can see the office bearers as well as I can hear all of you. And I think I am clearly audible to all of you, friends. Friends, today, the Code of Ethics, we are not discussing the Code of Ethics entirely, but we are going to discuss the few aspects of Code of Ethics. As you know that the previous Code of Ethics was known as Code of Ethics 2009, and the revision has been made in the Code of Ethics depending upon the ISMA standards in the year 2019. So it is called the new Code of Ethics. We are going to discuss or touch upon largely the aspects of responding to tenders, means ethics relating to responding to tenders, empanelment, charging of fees, other type of remuneration, and sharing of fees. Friends, before coming to the presentation as such, I propose to CA Rahul and CA Nikam, Sanjay Nikam, let me give brief about the latest development at the end of ICI. Then I will go to the presentation. I will give you in the presentation the brief overview of the new Code of Ethics, and then straight away we'll jump into the FAQs so that it will bring the better clarity on the part of participants and all of us. So friends, it has been noticed since long that ethics and auditing standards in our professional life has always taken a backseat. It is so ironical that despite the fact we do read a lot of things like income tax, GST, Companies Act, etc. But when it comes to ethics and auditing standards, we tend to treat all these as if we know everything and there is no need to study and even to comply with auditing standard as well as the ethical standards. This is the irony. And the history shows that whenever there is a conflict between ethics and economics, victory always go with economics. हमारा स्वार्थ पहले आ जाता है, हम ethics को भूल जाते हैं और पैसे कमाने में लग जाते हैं. So history shows that whenever there is a conflict, economy has prevailed over the ethics. Even friends, very few members are aware about the ethics and auditing standards. Hardly 5% of the total members would be knowing how many auditing standards and accounting standards are in existence. Meaning 95% of the members do not know the numbers of standards prevalent. Only CA final student would know about the numbers, and that poor student has to read it because he has to answer the questions in his CA final examinations. Otherwise, I believe even he may not be inclined to learn the ethics standard and the accounting standard, auditing standards. The similar is the treatment with ethics. Once he qualifies as a chartered accountant, he do not read ethics. Books are parked on the shelf. He enjoys the life and forgets standards on auditing and ethics altogether. Friends, ethics is a behavior. For example, you go to a lawyer. You expect certain services and behavior from the lawyer as a reward of fees you pay. This is a behavior and it is ethics too. Our client also expects certain types of services or treatment as a reward of payment of fees. It is something imbibed in us. It cannot be taught by others or it cannot be known by reading. It should be in our sanskar. Many ethical things we tend to ignore on the plea that it is legally allowed. What is legal may not necessarily be ethical. Political parties, for example, gives ticket to gundas, and we also talk that party has given tickets to third-class fellows. Despite the fact this is legal, it is not ethical at all. Everything which is ethical is bound to be legal. Whatever is ethical cannot be illegal. Ethical things cannot be against the law. Whatever is permissible may be legal, but may not be ethical. For example, a person can contest the political election despite he is in jail. Even a person is allowed to go for voting even if he is into jail. So it is legal but not ethical at all. Similarly, writing a book by a chartered accountant on the topics like how to evade tax, how to commit frauds, how to convert black money into white, etc. may be legal but not ethical at all. So many ethical things we ignore on the plea that it is legally allowed. However, our institute says that we always stand alongside the ethics. In short, friend, whatever brings disrepute to our institute is unethical. Even we cannot hold books of client or hold release of report until he pays the fee. And if we do so, it is a kind of extortion. Ethics means moral values. One can be transparent, but one needs to be accountable also. And the whole foundation of any profession, particularly CA profession, is its credibility. The sole purpose of the code of ethics is to ensure and uphold this credibility. There is a criticism against our institute and our council that the complaints against chartered accountants are not processed very seriously. Even the complaint says there is a considerable delay in disposing of the complaints. Even the punishments awarded are very little, are very mild, and so on. Thus, the society is also expect code of ethics to be implemented very strictly. Ethics are nothing but the laws or rules of acceptable behavior. Friends, the new code of ethics is a 12th edition of code of ethics, which is published in the year 2019. It was last revised in the year 2009. The revised, that is the 12th edition of code of ethics, has been aligned with the various amendments and contemporary developments taken place since last revision in the year 2009. This is for the first time that the code of ethics has been segregated into volumes, namely volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. While volume 1 and volume 2 represent the revised counterparts respectively of part A and part B of Code of Ethics 2009, that is the earlier version of Code of Ethics. Volume 3 is the case of law references. It is very interesting, friends. Case law have been given into as a part of Code of Ethics in volume 3. The revised Code of Ethics has been made applicable to all chartered accountants from 1st July 2020, and certain ethical standards, the applicability were postponed because of the COVID, but from 1/4/2022, all the ethical standards are in force and applicable to all chartered accountants. Friends, while performing our duties as a professional, the knowledge of laws and other rules and regulations affecting a particular assignment is a fundamental. It is a must. However, apart from the domain knowledge, one also needs to constantly bear in mind the provisions of CA Act, regulations, the technical pronouncements of the institute, and also a few notifications of our institute. Violation of these pronouncements, outlets, is a professional misconduct. Certain important things, friends. The council has issued guidelines for conversion of CA firms into LLP. It may be noted that the said council guidelines mentioned that LLPs shall be subject to the same regulations as if they were partnership firm. Mere conversion into LLP does not give any privileges which were not earlier with the CA firms. Thus, there is no immunity to LLPs from applicability of Code of Ethics. Code of Ethics are equally applicable to CA firms as well as LLPs. One should also not, and one should also be cautious when one is doing business in the name of wife or other family member. In case it is proved to be a Benami activity, the member may be in trouble. There is a sound reason behind this restriction. The involvement.
Hello, Parag sir.
Yeah, please.
सर आपका पीपीटी शेयर नहीं किया आपने सर?
मैं पीपीटी बाद में शेयर करता हूँ. पहले मैं certain things है मैं highlight करता हूँ.
Thank you, sir.
उसके बाद में मैं पीपीटी शेयर करूँगा, please. So there is a sound reason for restricting a chartered accountant to business in the name of wife or spouse. The involvement in the business may impair our independence and professional judgment. Further, it might hamper the standing in the and respect which we command in the eyes of society. Therefore, it is in the members' interest not to engage in such business activities, either in the name of wife or some family member. Even friend, a member is permitted to be an ordinary or simple director in a company, including a board managed company, even if he or his relative hold substantial interest in the company. He can also be a promoter of the company. He can also be a karta of an HUF, but we are not supposed to actively engage in the carrying on of the activity of HUF or any company. Even friends, expressing opinion on financial statements of any enterprise in which his firm or a partner in his firm has a substantial interest, unless he discloses the interest also in his report. Friends, very important thing to note is the expression into inverted comma, unless he discloses the interest also in his report, has been omitted by the amendment. Hence, the restriction has become absolute, and the mere disclosure will not come to rescue or help of a chartered accountant. So, if you are doing the audit of your relatives, then till date the disclosure was sufficient. Now you are not supposed to do the carry because independence is at stake invariably. Even friends, the institute has in principle permitted a partnership with the members of sister professionals, that is called a multidisciplinary partnership. We can now enter into partnership with company secretary, cost accountant, and lawyers, and all that. However, we should keep in mind at least three things. The first thing is there should be a reciprocal permission from the respective professional bodies. The second thing, work in the exclusive areas of chartered accountant, such as statutory audit, attestation of financial statements of companies, cannot be undertaken in such multidisciplinary firms. And the third is the liability of the partners would be unlimited like any other partnership, and the partners would be regulated by the respective professional bodies for any violation of the code of conduct or ethics. A member in CA practice is now permitted. The change is very good. Now we are permitted to share fees from professional practice with other professionals. we can now also get our share of fees from such other professionals. Further, we can now accept professional assignments by an arrangement with such other professionals. So now the revised code of ethics is very liberal, and the list of other professional includes to whom we can enter into partnership is company secretary, cost accountant, actuary, BE, BTAC, architect, lawyer, MBA, and all that. It is not permissible for a member who has been director of a company upon resignation from the company to be appointed as a direct auditor of the said company. Earlier, the malpractice was adopted by many chartered accountants. They were on the board. One good fine morning, they retire from as a director and immediately take up the assignment as an auditor. So now ICI has said, the independent, our standard also says that now you cannot become a director, you cannot become auditor of which you were a director earlier. At least for there should be gap of minimum 2 years. Only thereafter you can become the auditor of that company. And now the friends are using the word doctor with the designation of CA prefix may be left upon the discretion of the members. You can put either doctor first or CA first or CA first or doctor second or whatever may be the case. So now it will left upon the discretion of the members. CA in practice can be a director simpliciter, which includes the independent director. And the independent director, who are the part of the board where the accounts are approved, they being party to approval of financial statements as such. So they can also sign the balance sheet. Earlier, it was not permitted, but now there is no bar in their signing the financial statements. However, they cannot be involved in any day-to-day affairs of the company. This is the restriction still prevail. So my dear friends, certain restrictions are very good in nature. We can enhance our practice by following those standards. Even now we can, there are certain restrictions which are very stringent one also, depending upon certain fiasco made by other firms. And our institute has made the standards at par with the international standards. So changes are good. At the same time, changes are very important also for enhancement of professional practice by CA friends. So now, friends, I will take you through the journey of brief overview of the new code of ethics and request Mishra ji to start presentation. Mishra ji, please share the slides. Mishra ji.
मिश्रा जी
please
ऑन कर सकते हो आप अभी?
Yeah, fine. I think slides are visible. Is it so, friends? Hello, Mishra ji. Are the slides visible?
Not yet, sir.
Nikam ji, now the slides are visible. Hello.
Now it is okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay, friends. Now I take you through the brief overview of the new code of ethics because it is very necessary to understand all the time to know the new code of ethics, as well as thereafter I will take you to the some certain FAQs which will bring more clarity about the topic proper. Friends,
sir, if you can put it on a slideshow, it would be better. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes. So friends, as I said earlier, our institute is a member of IFAC, that is International Federation of Accountants. And IFAC follows the ISBA, that is Ethical Standard Board of Account for Accountants. That is called ISBA. So when we are a member of IFAC and IFAC follows the ISBA standard, we also follow the ISBA standard. Whatever code of ethics earlier or present one, are all based upon the new ISPA standards. Wherever there is a change in ISPA standards, we also try to follow the changes. But this time we have adopted the ISPA standard, as well as we have carried out many changes according to the political, legal, and other positions prevailing in India. Earlier Code of Ethics is known as 2009 edition of ICI Code of Ethics, and the new Code of Ethics is 2019 version of ethical standards. As you know, friends, earlier Code of Ethics were distributed into two parts, Part A and Part B. Part A was containing 3 chapters, Part B was containing 4 chapters. In Part A, Chapter 1 was all set of Code of Ethics applicable to all chartered accountants, whether into job or into practice. Chapter 2 was containing set of Code of Ethics which are applicable to a CA in practice. The Chapter 3 was containing the Code of Ethics applicable to all CAs into job or service. Part B was containing 4 chapters. First chapter was containing the accounting and auditing standards. The other one was dealing with CA Act 1949. The third one was dealing with council guidelines, and the 7th was self-regulatory measures recommended by the institute. So these were the earlier standards. Now the new standards. ICI Code of Ethics has been issued in the month of February 2019 as a guidelines of the council, and it is based upon the International Ethics Standard Board for Accountants, that is ISBA Code of Ethics 2018 edition, approved by our council in the month of December 2018. It has come into effect. That is applicable to all CAs from 1st July 2020. ICI Code of Ethics, that is new Code of Ethics, is a revised version of basically Part A of the earlier Code of Ethics 2009. However, we have also carried out, our institute has carried out changes in Part B, and Part B has also been undergone revision. The new Code of Ethics, as I said earlier, segregated into 3 parts: Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. Volume 1 contains 4 parts. The first part is a Code of Ethics applicable to all chartered accountants. We all have to comply with Code of Ethics, fundamental principles, as well as the conceptual framework laid down in Part 1. It is applicable to all chartered accountants, whether into job or into practice. The Part 2 is a set of ethics applicable to all CAs into service, that is in job. Part 3 deals with the set of rules, ethics applicable to all CAs in public practice. Part 4 is a set of international independent standards bifurcated into 2 parts. One set contains the rules for audits and reviews, and other set of ethics for other assured engagement by chartered accountants. Whereas Volume 2 contains again 5 chapters, but it deals with accounting and auditing standards, CA Act 1949, Council Guidelines for Advertisement, Council Guidelines 2020, and the self-regulatory measures recommended by the Council. So you can measure, friends, you can watch, friends, that earlier set of a Code of Ethics, Part A, Part B, and new Code of Ethics, Volume 1, Volume 2, are on the same path, or broadly are the same. Now the difference is Part 3. Part 3, as you know, friends, our CA Act contains 2 schedules, first schedule and second schedule, which contains plethora of Code of Ethics or behavioral standards. And Volume 3 deals with the case laws which has happened or by the various courts, disciplinary committee, or the ethical standard board. All the case laws are contained in Volume 3 for the guidance of member. Volume 3 Code of Ethics, that is case laws reference, brings out subject-wise disciplinary cases that a member in practice or service must have in mind while performing the attest function. And there is improved guidance on to the members on number of issues, e.g., for example, other misconduct and professional misconduct, and lot of new instances have been incorporated and updated for the benefit of members. So volume 2, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3 contains such provisions. The new code of ethics have find out that there are 5 basic principles, fundamental principles upon which the whole edifice of our CA practice is built up. And the 5 fundamental principles goes like this. First is integrity. We all are supposed to be straightforward and honest in all our professional relationship, which implies the fair dealing of truthfulness. Even another fundamental principle is the objectivity, which says that we should not allow bias or conflict of interest or undue influence of others to override our professional judgment while casting our duties. The third set of fundamental principles says professional competence and due care, meaning thereby we are supposed to maintain professional knowledge and skill at the level which is required to ensure that a client or the employer receives competent professional services based upon the current developments in practice, legislation, and techniques. So we are supposed to remain updated for all the time to give the best services to auditee or to the employer. The fourth principle is confidentiality. Obviously, friends, by virtue of our association with the client, we come to know about many confidential things about the client. However, our code of ethics says that we should not share such confidential information to third parties without proper and specific authority, unless there is a legal or professional right or duty to disclose. We should not use this confidential information for our gain, for our purpose. And we should not also allow others to use this information for their advantage. And the fifth principle is professional behavior, which says that we should comply with all relevant laws and regulations, and we should avoid any action that discredits the profession. So it is behavioral standard that we have to keep in mind. So these are the 5 fundamental principles find out by our institute and included in code of ethics. Again, these 5 fundamental principles, they have identified 5 threats which deter us to comply with the provisions or to cast or to do the attest function very effectively. The first threat they've identified is self-interest threat. It occurs when we have a direct financial or other interest in the client organization, or our relative has a financial interest in the client organization. The example we can cite that direct financial interest in a client, putting a low fee for obtaining a new engagement, close business relationship with the client, and access to confidential information that might be used for personal gain. The second threat is self-review threat, which occurs when we ourselves review a position or give a certificate of the fact which we have already done or we have already implemented in past. So checker maker concept is in present. Fine friends. So issuing assurance report on effectiveness of the operation of financial system after self-implementing the above-mentioned system into the client organization. So self-review threat is certainly present. Even we have prepared the data and we have generated the records are now used which is the subject matter of any assurance engagement, which is a kind of self-review threat, friends. The third threat is advocacy threat, which occur when we promote a position or point or an opinion to the point that subsequent objectivity may be compromised. So it's also a big threat, like close or like promoting the interest of the client, lobbying in favor of client for changing legislation on behalf of client, etc. are the threat which falls under the advocacy threat. The fourth threat is familiarity threat, which occurs when we become too sympathetic to our client because we are doing professional services since long. We gradually build good relationships with the client, and we also fall sick of sympathetic to the client and try to avoid many reporting requirements, which is otherwise very, very crucial and which may go or against the interest of client. So we try to save the interest of client, and that is the called familiarity threat, like close or immediate family member who is a director or officer in the client organization. They pay good salary. They try to give the more perquisites to him or them, and in turn, we try to compromise with the independence. So that is called advocacy threat. Even long association with the audit client is also poses a threat. The last threat is the intimidation threat. हमको डराया जाता है, धमकाया जाता है by the client to do something or to do not something, or to report something or to do not report something. All fall under this category. We have been threatened with dismissal from a client engagement or the firm because of disagreement about the professional matter. Even we may be pressurized to agree with the judgment of a client. And when we accept a significant gift from a client and being threatened that acceptance of this gift will be made public. So all these kind of example fall under the intimidation threat, friends. What the Code of Ethics suggests, what the institute suggests, said there are principles, there are threats also. Now you have to go for the adoption of safeguards to safeguard your interest, how best you can serve the profession. So safeguards created by the profession, even safeguards have been created by the legislation on the CA regulations. Even safeguards we can adopt in our firm, that is called firm-wide safeguards. हमारी firm में, हमारे organization में, we can start setting rules how we can base service to the profession or the auditee, and we can set certain rules that is called firm-wide safeguards. Even we can set the engagement specific safeguards because the threats are different in the public organizations. Even the threats are different in the private organizations. Generally, threats are more in the public undertakings, government undertakings, and less where there are private organizations wherein professional management is there. So depending upon all this, we can design the engagement specific safeguards. Even we can establish the safeguards within the client systems and procedures so that we can get the desired information, get the desired result, and we can solve the attest function very effectively. So what ICI says that there are principles, there are threats, but you have to establish this safeguard. Friends, the law says the advertisement. Can we advertisement our professional work? So the schedule or the Code of Ethics says the logic and spirit behind these clauses is indeed a very laudable Advertisement, if permitted, often degenerate into the cheaper forms of publicity. This is a fact established by our institute. And the point that some of the ethical norms should change with the time has been well taken care of by the new ethical standards. Nevertheless, there is abundant wisdom in the belief that the work of a professional is based advertisement. हमारा काम ही बोलेगा. If we provide these services to client, the more publicity will prolong and we will get the more and more work. So the one very good quote I can find from the Code of Ethics, our set of Code of Ethics Institute has said that the satisfaction of clients would be the best advertisement, which would lead to other clients. Unabashed advertisement would affect the public esteem in which the profession is held and would act to the disadvantage of its members. And advertisement is not a key to success in the profession. It is the quality of service which attracts and retains the clients. Very good quote depicted in the Code of Ethics, in the set of Code of Ethics. Very good. I really appreciate, I really salute the standards laid down by our institute by virtue of this new Code of Ethics, particularly when so far the advertisement is concerned. Now, can we respond to the tenders? A member of the institute that in practice shall not respond to any tender issued by an organization or user of our services, which are exclusively reserved for chartered accountants. There are so many functions like audit, financial function, other functions are exclusively meant for chartered accountants. Only CA can do audit function, other services, or the attest functions, or the assurance functions. On those cases, whenever there is a tender, we should not respond to those tenders because it is our area. हमारे वो जो काम work flow होने वाला है, only that will go to CAs only, not to other professionals. So those areas which are exclusively for chartered accountants, our ICI says that we should not respond to those tenders, such as the audit and attestation services. However, such restriction shall not be applicable. ये rules applicable नहीं होगा on two counts. First is where the minimum fee of the assignment is prescribed in the tender document itself. अगर टेंडर कहता है कि ये काम minimum cost will be 10 lakh rupees, then I should not quote a fee less than 10 lakh rupee. And अगर वहाँ टेंडर में ये फी कोट की गई है, हाँ, तो I can respond to the tender. And the other exception is where the areas are open to other professionals along with the CAs. जिस टेंडर में CAs are allowed, even other professionals like company secretary, cost accountant, MBAs are also allowed to quote the fees. In those cases, we are allowed to respond to the tenders. So these are the two exemptions. However, our institute says, the Code of Ethics says that wherever you respond to the tender, whenever you quote the fees, it should not be at random. आपको fees quote करनी है, तो there should be some base before quoting the fees. So what I suggest that responding to tenders and accepting the professional work should be based upon certain standards, incorporating details of those of the cost being incurred therein, having specific regard to the number of persons involved, number of hours to be spent, and the complexity, etc., involved into the work. Only so, while quoting the fee, we should be judicious enough, we should be very objective, and we have to do certain calculations and only then quote the fees. So whether a member can in a practice can respond to tenders, advertisement and circulars, this question is often asked. This question is often asked, discussed among members. Okay, whether we can respond to tenders, advertisement and circulars. So our institute says yes, you can. It is permitted by the Code of Ethics. There is no prohibition to respond to tenders and requests made by those who are seeking our services. No, but certain things we have to keep in mind, whether minimum quotation of fees there or not, whether tender is open for only chartered accountants or only for CA and other professionals also. All this makes a difference. So whenever there is a tender, whenever there is a advertisement, whenever there is a circular, you can respond, but you have to first of all go to the guidelines established by our institute. Another very offshoot is, can we solicit clients or professional work by doing advertisement? Of course, the answer is clearly no. We cannot solicit clients or professional work by issuing advertisement. The Code of Ethics prohibits a practicing CA from soliciting clients or professional work either directly or indirectly by circular, advertisement, personal communication, or interview, or by any other means. But there are certain exceptions which have been very well shown in the Code of Ethics. Now again, friends, if we are a practicing chartered accountant, can we secure professional business through these services of a person who is not our employee or our partner? So answer is very clearly no. We cannot solicit business or professional work or services from a person who is not my employee or not my partner. The answer is clear-cut no, very well depicted into Code of Ethics. Can we solicit clients or professional work? Sorry. Whether a member in practice is permitted to respond to announcement for empanelment, because nowadays there are so many announcements seeking empanelment from chartered accountants for the allotment of audit and other professional work. And can we quote the fees on requiring on inquiries being received? So ICI says yes, you can respond to those announcements seeking empanelment of chartered accountants for the professional work or audit work, and even you can quote the fees, right, friends? The quotation of fees can be sent if inquiries are received. अगर inquiry में quotation of fees नहीं लिखा है, तो आपको you should not quote the fee unless until there is a demand into the tender or the announcement or the advertisement. Am I permitted to appear my name in the telephone directory? So the answer is yes. It is some sort of advertisement, but our institute says yes. A member in practice is permitted to have his name published in the telephone directory, subject to certain conditions which are listed into the Code of Ethics. But we are permitted. Condition तो ऐसी है कि our name should not be in a prominent place or dark, bold letters or italics or certain design or certain payment of extra fees, right? So it should not be look like advertisement. Telephone directory में सभी का नाम है, मेरा भी नाम है, सभी सी का नाम है, मेरा भी नाम है. In that ordinary fashion, the name should appear, right? Otherwise, it is an advertisement which may put you in trouble and disciplinary action may be launched against you. Many CAs are writing books. Can we indicate in a book or an article authored or contributed or published by a CA our association with any firm of chartered accountants? The answer is clearly cut no. It says a member is not permitted to indicate in a book or an article the association with a firm. He can very well write his name, his area of practice, but mentioning the name of CA firm is prohibited. If you do so, then you may be held guilty under professional misconduct. Again, friends, can we issue a circular questionnaire among the clients, inviting views of my services or services of my firm? The Code of Ethics says no. It is not even ethically proper to issue such questionnaire. Apart from seeking the work, हम हमारी प्रोपेगेंडा करना चाहते हैं तो वो पॉसिबल नहीं है. It is also not proper ethically also. Can we inquire for the professional work, making host of inquiries? Of course, the answer is no. We cannot solicit work inquiring rigorously upon the organization. It is not permissible for a member to address letters or circulars to persons who are likely to require services for CA of a chartered accountant. It would tantamount to advertisement and we may be held guilty under professional misconduct. Of course, we are not allowed, or our firm is not allowed to give the advertisement in the press. It is strictly prohibited. The answer is clear-cut no. We cannot practice or we cannot, our firm cannot give the advertisement in the press. Can we issue a press brief or in the or advertisement in a newspaper for the recruitment of staff in the our own office? The answer is yes. In terms of the provisions of the Code of Ethics, provided that only the name and address of the member of of his firm with the description CAs is mentioned in such advertisement, and the advertisement is not displayed more prominently than it's usual for such advertisement, or the name of the member or that of his firm with the designation CAs appear in type not bolder than the substance of the advertisement. So in any कहीं से भी ये नहीं लिखना चाहिए कि ये कुछ हाईलाइट हो रहा है और the person is marketing doing advertisement. Otherwise, in a normal course, you can publish an advertisement into the newspaper for recruitment of the staff of your office. Many a time we tend to mention our achievement, our degrees while we publish the article in magazine or newspaper or in other cases. Is it permissible? Yes, we can publish the achievements or awards we have received. However, the condition is the awards or our achievement should be from central government or state government or the regulatory bodies. Otherwise, other qualities we cannot highlight into the articles we publish or the advertisement we publish into the newspaper or other media of printing. Can we advertise our services on social networking websites? The answer is yes. A member in practice may advertise through a write-up on social networking websites, setting out his particulars or services, subject to the guidelines. And these guidelines are there into volume 2 of 2020. So this relaxation has been given on social networking websites. We can give or advertise our profession. Can we pay to any person any share, commission, or brokerage for or profit for his professional business? Of course, the answer is clear-cut no. We are barred to share our fees or profit. We can do so only with the member of the institute or a partner or a retired partner or the legal representative of the deceased partner or a member of any other professional bodies, or with such other persons having such qualifications as may be prescribed for the purpose of the rendering of such professional services from time to time in or outside India. So we can share the profit or we can share the fees from other professions, other CA friends, or the listed qualities, listed qualifications, or listed entities in the code of ethics. Otherwise, we cannot share the commission or brokerage in the fees or profits with other who are not the professionals. Soliciting work from other CAs by issuing circular or advertisement. It is permissible. We can seek work from other CAs on one-to-one basis. Can we share fees with the government in respect of government audit? In certain tenders, in certain there are certain conditions that out of your total fee, you have to say 2%, 3% you have to deposit it back to the government for meeting with certain administrative expenditure. Earlier, it was not permitted, but the new code of ethics says when there is a condition in the tender and the government want to retain certain percentage of share as an administrative expenditure, then ICI says that it is out of the purview of code of ethics, and that way you can part with the fees which you are going to earn from the professional assignments. Moving further, friends, can we enter into partnership with a practicing CA of a recognized foreign professional bodies? Means a person who is not Indian Chartered Accountant but CA from, say, Australia, Canada, USA, or some other countries, or recognized degree holder. Can we enter into partnership and share the fees? So it's a great thing that our code of ethics says yes, you can enter into partnership with those professionals and also can share the fees. Sharing of fees of the partnership business within India or outside India, both are permitted. So we can enhance the practice and we can take the advantage of this amendment. Although the advertisement is permitted abroad, we are permitted to do the advertisement in foreign countries. However, whenever we advertise our profession, we have to keep in certain mind that whether the advertisement is appropriate, it should not be in any way inappropriate. If it is appropriate, then we can do so. We have to see also that will it benefit to our members as well as the users of our services? If yes, then we can go with it. We can also see, we should also see that whether it focuses on the services or on brand. If it is services, then it is okay. If it is for the own brand building, it is not permissible. The council and the concerned committee feels that there is no change required or warranted in the present position. So good thing that our council is now becoming at par and and empowers us to become a competitive so far as other professionals are also in encroaching upon the practice. There are certain rules for the website. The council of our institutes have come out with the detailed guidelines. The guidelines were first published in the year 2001. Then thereafter there is a revision in the year 2003. Then there are other revisions in the year 2015. But the most important point is that we should run our website on a pull model and not a push model. So running a website of CA firm on push model is prohibited. And the address of the website should be intimated to ICI within 30 days. Whenever you launch the website, it is our duty to intimate to ICI about our website. Moving further, friends, can we do or can we apply for the certain announcement or empanelment? So our institute has permitted. What it says that if a member come to know of the maintenance of such panel by the government or other organization, we are allowed to apply for the audit or professional work. However, roving inquiries is not permissible. We cannot approach to the government organizations or other entities with the proposition, are you maintaining panel? Are you allotting work to CAs? Such kind of inquiries should not happen. Only when we come to know when certain government organizations or other entities or private organizations are maintaining panel, only then we are allowed to do the application. Also, we cannot request for the allotment of work. If we do so, we can start roving inquiry if then it brings disrespect to our institute and not permitted. Even we are supposed to refrain from the empanelment with registration fees or deposit for audit and exclusive fields for CAs. Those areas which are exclusively as a domain of chartered accountants, on those areas, whenever there is a tender or whenever there is a advertisement, we can respond, but we should not pay the fee, registration fee or deposit for such kind of practices. That is what ICI suggests to us. And the fees or deposit may be paid for non-exclusive areas. जो हमारा area नहीं है, वहाँ पर means those which are not the attached functions, वहाँ पर हम fees or deposit pay कर सकते हैं. But when there is an audit or some attached functions which are the wholly a domain of chartered accountants, none other professionals are allowed to enter into it. We should not, on those cases, we should not pay registry fees or deposit. Moving further, appearing of name in telephone directory, as I said earlier, it is permitted, but specific guidelines are there and which we have to follow. Otherwise, publication of name of in the directory by the telephone department or some other organizations is permitted, but we have to ensure that it should not in any way appear as an advertisement. That is what the guidelines broadly says. if there are inquiries which prompt me to quote the fees, is it allowed? So friends, it is permissible to quote the fees or inquiries being received, or we can respond to the tenders from the organizations requiring professional services which maintain such panel. However, we are not supposed to submit the or distribute the literature or my profile, because it is direct or direct solicitor business. Can I publish the advertisement for the seeking professional work from the fellow chartered accountants, or can I publish the advertisement for hiring services of other chartered accountants? So it is permissible. Our institute says a member is permitted to issue a classified advertisement in our CA journal or the newsletter of only the institute, or institute means even WRC or the branches which are be allowed to do the classifieds. Only then we can do the advertisement. Otherwise, advertisement for the requirement of chartered accountants or sharing of work, it is not permitted into the newspaper or magazines. Sharing of fees. As I said earlier, friends, a member in CA practice is now permitted to share fees from professional practices with other professionals like cost accountant, company secretary, MBA, architect, engineer, BTAC, all that, lawyer, or informal IT specialist. The condition is he can also get his share. We are also allowed to receive our share of fees from such other professional. We can also share the fees from our practice with other professionals. We can now accept professional assignments by an arrangement with such other professionals. The list of other professionals, as I said earlier, includes the cost accountant or company secretary and all that. Fees, the relationship. Friends, the new code of ethics says that where for 2 consecutive years, the total gross annual professional fees from the audit client or the group of those clients or group of companies exceed 15% of the total fees, we are supposed to disclose to the company that we are getting more than 15% of the fees from either the company or the group of the companies. This is the new code of ethics says that you are supposed to intimate to those who are charged with the governance, particularly when it's a public interest entities. And however, the ceiling of 15% of fees is not applicable where the total fee is not more than 5 lakh rupees, or it is not applicable when you receive the fees more than 15% of the total fees from the audit of the government companies, public undertakings, nationalized banks, public financing institutions, or the government appointments. Friends, one thing is very clear, that this rule applies only where such 15% fees is received from the audit client. So you are not supposed to include the fees for the taxation matters, or Companies Act matter, or project finance, or whatever practice you are doing. The revised code of ethics does not put bar on the acceptance of audit work of more than 15% fees from a single client. It doesn't bar us. The only requirement is to disclose, is the disclosure and taking appropriate safeguards prescribed therein. Accordingly, the audit may be continued taking proper safeguards. So there are a lot of queries and they are asking to the institute, why should we discontinue the audit assignment wherein we are getting more than 50% fees? But ICAI says, no, you are not supposed to discontinue. You can continue taking appropriate safeguards. So far, sharing of fees is concerned, another very important point is, can we share the profit or other professional fees with the widow of the deceased partner or the legal representative of the deceased partner? Supposing I am a 3-partner firm, one of the partner dies and I want to share the profit or the fees with the widow of the deceased partner. Can I do so? So the answer is in affirmative. When there are 2 or more partners and one of the partner dies, the widow of the deceased partner can continue to receive a share of the profit of the firm. A legal representative, say widow of a deceased partner, is entitled to share of the profits. However, there are 2 conditions. It can happen only where the partnership agreement contains such a provision that on the death of the partner, his widow or legal representative would be entitled to such payment by way of sharing of fees or otherwise. And second condition is, it should be for the specified period only. The partnership agreement cannot say that for the indefinite period it should happen. So for a limited period, the agreement should define the period, say for 5 years, for 10 years, we shall share the fees. So there should be a quantification of years for which you want to share the fees with the widow or the legal representative. Can I, if I'm a proprietary concern, upon the death of proprietor, can the widow or the legal representative enter into an agreement with some other professional or CA with the condition that I will share the profit or fees? So whatever is permissible in the case of partnership firm is not permissible to the proprietary concern. There cannot be any sharing of fees between the widow or the legal representative of the proprietor of a single member firm and the purchase of the goodwill of the firm upon the death of the sole proprietor of the firm. Very glaring example, which is the eye opener, and every participant of this lecture meeting should bear in mind that so far as ILFS fiasco is concerned, we know that ILFS failed in the year 2018, and the find out says the vicarious position, how the independence of the CA firm or CAs were compromised. The finding says the auditors were providing huge other services. Other services mean other than audit services, huge other audit services they were providing. The node of audit committee approvals were obviated, were not taken. Audit staff rotation policy was not in existence and rotation was not happening. Familiarity threat was fully functional, meaning thereby this CA firm was doing the audit since long, and they become so familiar. So try to compromise the independence. Independence in the mind of audit firm was lacking. And another, the noticeable fact is the annual report, Annexure 1 says that the audit firm was getting remuneration from 15 engagements. They have listed the engagement in Annexure 1. The total of these fee from other services was 663 lakh rupees compared to audit fee of just 401 lakhs of rupees for the year 17-18. So friends, mind well, where the independence is there, when I'm getting more fees than what I'm getting from the audit fees. In this case, they were getting 666 lakh rupees as other engagement fees, whereas the audit fee was just 401 lakh rupees. And on the top, these 15 engagements were from ILFS Limited, that is holding company, or directly from IFIN. It do not include the engagement services they have provided to other associates and group companies of ILFS. So they were getting much more than 666 lakh rupees, maybe 1,000 lakh rupees compared to audit fee 401 lakh. So this is the eye-opener example why ILFS failed from its operations. Fees on the basis of percentage. Can I charge the fees on the basis of percentage of the outcome? So it is not permissible. The fees which are based on a percentage of profit or contingent upon the findings or the contingent upon the results of such other work is not allowed. It is not permissible. There are certain exceptions like permission to insolvency professionals for charging fees on certain recovery or etc. So certain exceptions are there. Otherwise, practicing CAs are not allowed to charge fees based upon the profit or based upon the outcome of the contingent or some other way. So when we can charge the fees based upon the percentage of profits or the fee which are contingent upon the finding of the results of such work. So the council has allowed the charging of fees by members enrolled as insolvent professional. They can charge the fees on the basis of percentage, and the fees for rendering non-assurance services to non-audit client. Non-assurance services to non-audit client. वहां पर हम फीस को प्रॉफिट की बेस पर या सम इवेंट के ऊपर या सम रिकवरी के ऊपर रेज कर सकते हैं या कोट कर सकते हैं. The fees from referral services. Can I get the work and pay the fee, referral fee? Can I pay the referral fee or can I get the referral fee? So in both the cases, the answer is positive. Our institute says the payment or receipt of referral fees does not create a self-interest threat or compliance to comply with the principles of the objectivity and professional competence and due care. Meaning thereby, what they say, if I am doing practice in the field of income tax, I do not provide services like project finance, Companies Act, GST. So to the existing client, when approaches me for such kind of services, I can refer my friend. You go there, obtain all these services, and in turn I can charge the fee from another chartered accountant. Even when, if I have an expertise, say in audit or taxation or GST or IBC, then my friend or some other chartered accountant can approach me who is not into that field with the request to handle his client so far these services are concerned. And in turn, he can take the referral fees also. So this is permissible. The new code of ethics is very good in that fashion. And we can also enhance our practices in that direction. The independent standard, the requirement is, friends, in the new code of ethics, the independent standard has been renamed as the International Independent Standards. And there are certain changes, like in most cases, they have changed the word from should to shall, making the standard more stringent. The pattern of structuring of sections has been rearranged in such a way that requirement is distinguished. And now there is an increased clarity of responsibility of the compliance within the firms, within the network firms, and the individuals within the firms. So standard is very, very helpful to the practicing chartered accountants and those CS who are into job. The new code of ethics also very, very important, friends, because not only we have adopted or we have gone as per the ISPA standards, the institute has applied their mind very well. So wherever domestic provision is stricter than the corresponding ISPA standards, we have continued with those strict provisions. For example, total bar on the accounting and other services provided by the statutory auditor, where the domestic legal requirement governs the issue, where we have continued with those issues. So for example, the definition of network. So forgetting about the network defined by other laws, our institute says the network is only a network which is registered with the institute and which is defined by the institute. So we are not allowed to become the member of other associations like say BNI. Like the issues were raised or crop up, our institute had dealt with it. And so they have said that network is the only network which is defined by our institute. Only that network we can promote the profession and share the fees among the network partners. So again, moving further, where a domestic requirement has no corresponding provisions in ISPA standard, we have adopted those provisions into our new standards. Say, for example, firm rotation. Firm rotation, our was being present into the old code of ethics, but the new ethics we have adopted the not only the partner rotations, but we have also adopted the firm rotation. We have also covered certain changes. For example, the ISPA standard deals with the term professional accountant in business. However, it is nothing but the CA into job. So we have changed the terminology depending upon our local circumstances. Friends, there are certain changes like key audit partner and other terminology has been introduced, but I don't want to take you because it has been discussed time and again on various forums by the institute, by WIRC. So I would like to end my presentation at this point with the request to the organizer and to the participants to raise their questions so that the doubt will get resolved. I request the Honorable Regional Council member CA Rahul and CA Sanjay Nikam to open the forum. You may invite the question either allowing them to speak, or you can take the question in chat box and pop up and post to me. I will be able, or I will try my best to answer those questions raised by the participants. So over to Sanjay Nikam ji and CA Rahul ji, other office bearers of WRC of ICL.
Yeah, absolutely right, sir, because we all know code of conduct and code of ethics are very much important in our life. And as far as our profession is concerned, it is very imperative for us to follow the ethics, because our status in society and respect of our profession in the society very much depend on this ethical conduct. So as you said, we are opening this forum for question and answers. So because we know there are many questions in our minds of our chartered accountants, and as a WRC or ICI, it is our endeavor to justify all the questions and try to answer their all questions. And since the learned speaker is with us to address our queries, it will be good opportunity for us to resolve our queries. So we are opening the dais, this forum for question and answer. Sir, there is one.
Please.
There are two questions in question and answer thing. So I'll ask one first question to you.
Please
regarding securing work from others. What is the position of CAs offering their services on online portals? If not allowed, why are cases of offline services rising? Sir.
See, I understand this query. See, our ICI has permitted, the Code of Ethics has permitted to share the professional work with other chartered accountants. We can also share the fees or seek the work from other professionals, which is called multi-disciplinary partnership. Only those categories with whom online or offline we can share the professional fees. I can share the fees of mine with other professionals, or I can receive my share from other professionals, which are designed into multidisciplinary code. So it is allowed whether offline or online. See, online or offline doesn't make a difference. Only what we have to see that we cannot enter into sharing of profit or fees with non-professional, which are not designed or not included into the Code of Ethics designed for the multidisciplinary partnership. Only those category of professionals are allowed to enter into partnership with each other, can share the fees whether online or offline.
Okay, so I think we have justified this question. Now I'll request Jasmine Shah, who has raised his hand, her hand. You can ask your question, Jamin. Jamin, are you in position to ask the question? Okay, I'll move on to Yeah, please come on.
Yeah, or else take the question in a chat box, please, from Jaimin.
Uh,
If he is able to.
He has not, sir. He has not
Okay, no
mentioned
issue.
his
Please
question.
go ahead. Go ahead,
It
please.
was by mistake. Sorry.
Please.
Okay,
carry
no
on.
issue, sir. No issue, sir. CA Jogendra Rajput, are you in position to ask your question?
No, sir.
Okay. Anita Somani, do you have any question to ask? Okay. There is one question in chat box.
Please.
Is it that any tax service cannot be rendered to audit clients? This is very common question, sir. Please answer this.
Yeah. See, it is the new code of ethics says that providing taxation services to the audit client creates the threat. Providing taxation service to the audit client poses self-review threat or the objectivity threat. So threat is present. Our institute doesn't say that it should not provide taxation services to audit client. What they say is adopt appropriate safeguard. See, whenever I am providing both the services, my independence is at stake. Over a period of time, I tend to become sympathetic with the client, and I'm not reporting what is exactly required from a chartered accountant. So ICI says, the code of ethics says, normally providing taxation services to the audit client is a threat, but you should adopt the appropriate safeguard. Whenever I provide the taxation services, I should see that it should be reviewed by a person who is not forming part of the audit team, or some independent chartered accountant is there to review the assignment, or I should go for the due diligence from independent chartered accountant who was not associated in my firm. So providing tax services to audit client is not at all prohibited. It is very well permissible. So only ICI says provide due diligence, take appropriate care, take appropriate safeguard, and continue with the services. They haven't ever said to discontinue providing taxation services to the audit client.
Got it, sir. That means independence of the auditor should be maintained, and then we can provide services to audit client also.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Yeah. Next question is from Mohan Rajan, sir. Can practicing CA be involved with management services company as a director, where practicing CA registers bills from CA firm for services rendered? Can practicing CA be authorized signatory for bank accounts for such company? Can practicing CA sign agreements on behalf of such company?
Sanjay ji, the question is very simple. The answer is very simple, because you are indulging into business of the company. You are signing agreement on behalf of company. See what they permit. You can become a director, simpliciter only. See, I being a practicing chartered accountant, I am allowed to do a director simpliciter only, meaning thereby I cannot get any remuneration from the company. I can take only the sitting fee for attending the board meeting, and in any way I am not spending time for the business of the company. Signing agreement or some, see, in whatever you do in a proper capacity is a different thing, but once you become a director, then you are losing status. So it is also allowed to a chartered accountant to become managing director or whole-time director or executive director in the company. He can also retain COP, but he cannot use the COP. His status will be a member part-time in practice, meaning thereby he cannot do any attached function. So there is no prohibition to a chartered accountant to become such, but we are the best judge. We have to see the line of demarcation. Accordingly, if I'm fully into practice, then there is no prohibition. What ICI says, overlapping is prohibited in no case. So whenever there is a threat to our independence, then we should stop there.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. Next question is from Sachindra Chaturvedi. A is an engagement partner signing off on the financial statements of X Limited. A is also a director in B Bank, from which X Limited has borrowed working capital. Can A continue to sign the financial statements of X Limited under the new code of ethics?
See, of course, there is no prohibition. See, X and Y both are the limited company and they have entered into a financial arrangement. There is no violation at all. But what the new code of ethics says, say if I have taken a loan from say X entity or X bank. I have taken a loan from X entity or X bank. And in that case, I cannot accept any other assignment from those banks or the sister concern of those banks or the bank or the entity which are established or are the special purpose vehicle or entity of the bank or entity. Only in those cases, the prohibition is there. Otherwise, it is permitted. Then even the recently case, one case has decided wherein the person has taken a fixed deposit loan or FD or on FD of his own FD, and he also becomes the auditor of that bank or company. So it is not permitted. So he was held guilty under problem misconduct. So the basic crux is whenever, see, if I am the auditor of a subsidiary company, I cannot become the director in holding company because my independence is at stake.
Right.
Similarly, in this case, both company has an arrangement for the finance. What I understand is, wherein I don't have my independence in nowhere at stake. So if I answer Sachin Chaturvedi's answer, he can continue with as an auditor. There is no problem.
Sir, one more question. It is not there. It is actually normally I am getting such questions from young chartered accountants, especially. That many times young chartered accountant take housing loans and motor vehicle loans from various banks. Now, their innocent question to me always is, sir, can we do the statutory audit of such bank?
No.
Yes.
We cannot do the statutory audit of that because my independence is certainly at stake. No. It is
true.
It was earlier code of ethics also. It is not a new code of ethics. It was prevalent. It is prevalent. Fine.
Yes. So you answered all the queries we have raised, and sir, we are very much thankful to you because it was a wonderful session. Because I have heard many sessions of you and many sessions for other learned faculties also. This topic is so vast and so important in our chartered accountant's life that questions are never ending. So
I fully agree with you, Nikamji. And see, today I had to confine myself only to the ethical standards which are affecting to responding to tenders, empanelment, charging of fees, other types of remuneration, and sharing of fees. So I have confined myself to strictly to the topic allotted to me. I have tried to give the background. I have tried to give the all the geography of the related standards. That's why I took you to the journey of these standards. See, otherwise, the code of ethics is very wide. It's like ocean, and many more things we can discuss. And I also discuss all these standards at many forums. Fine, but today my topic was very confined, very limited. Even though I have tried to, I am sure you must be appreciating that I have tried myself fully to justify the topic allotted to me. Over to Sanjay Nikamji.
Exactly, sir. Exactly. There are questions are still coming up. Can we take two questions? Last two questions we will take and we will conclude because I know for question answer sessions also we would need 2 to 3 hours. Nimesh Runwal, he already asked one question. Now he's clarifying his question. Clarifying my earlier question regarding securing work from others. What I meant to ask is, there are various outsourcing companies online who impanel CAs as member for a fee and then give client leads. These online companies are not CA firms or multidisciplinary firms. They are more like aggregators. So what is a position of chartered accountant registering and getting work from such websites?
Friends, one thing very clear, that providing services professionally, there is no provision. I can provide consultancy, no problem. And if the online services are in such a nature who attract only to you, not other chartered accountants, then responding to those online portals is somewhat dangerous. See, there are plethora of advertisement circular and requirement is floating on various websites, various newspapers, various magazines, but responding only to those which are exclusive areas of chartered accountant or where others are also permitted. Just so we have to see. I do not understand exactly the question of Mr. Nimesh, but I can say, if it is only addressed to you and you are supposed to quote the fees, if you are providing services professionally, then there is no problem at all. No problem at all. Whether it's outsourcing, KPO, BPO, whatever may be the case. If you are providing services as a chartered accountant professionally, financial, you are providing consulting services, no prohibition. So we have to see the agreement also, so that we can see. In any case, we cannot become a part of non-professionals. We cannot share fees or other things with who are not the defined category of professionals, either other chartered accountants or other defined category of professionals. Otherwise, so if you can share my email ID to Mr. Nimesh, I will interact with him, or my phone. I will know the content. I know he cannot share all the content on this plethora and this platform, but if he asks me, I will certainly apply my mind. I will give him the best guidance. Please.
Yes, yes. Nimesh bhai, Parag bhai's number is always available at WRC and Central Council level also. You can search him on website also. His all contacts are there and he's always available for our fraternity. Next question is from Ravi Salunke. Sir, can we provide our COP and membership certificate to financial institute for obtaining loan?
Of course, no prohibition at all. They provide loan only basis, only they want to verify the fact whether you are really chartered accountant or not. Because there are so many persons who are impersonating themselves as chartered accountant, but they don't have the membership certificate or COP. So for getting loan, giving as a proof that I'm a chartered accountant or practicing chartered accountant, COP or membership fee, you can very well say, we very well hand over to the bank or other institute or public finance institution. There is no prohibition at all whatsoever.
True, sir. Because many NBFCs and financial institutions are providing loans to chartered accountants only because they are chartered accountants.
Correct.
So we can definitely present our certificate, certified copy of the certificate to such institutions. So friends, we are concluding now. There are many questions and our learned faculty have justified all the questions beyond permitted time limit. Sir, we agree that the time given to you was very limited, but still in given span of time, you have touched almost all the aspects. Sir, I was also carefully listening to you. All practical aspects you have covered and you are given your solutions. Somewhere you are given cautious word also, we should be take care of such kind of things. And the most important thing I'm taking from you, that there is always a conflict between economics and ethics. Your first line, you started with this thing only, and that concept glued me to your further delivery, that there is a tendency from every human to give preference to the economics rather than ethics. But in long term, that will not will be a good decision from our side. Ethics always pays in longer period, that we all know. And as you said, to be ethical, you need to have a strong willpower or morals that comes from sanskars. No law can control you from doing anything except your ethics. Your ethics always support you or guide you and control you in bad situation. Sir, there are means I would say that we are very thankful to you. You address all the queries. You voluntarily from your side also touch all practical aspects which are arising in minds of all the chartered accountants. Even after concluding your remarks, you opened the forum for practical questions, and you took all the question and try to justify every question with your wisdom. We are extremely thankful to you, and from on behalf of WRC and all the delegates attending this webinar, I am grateful to you for spending your valuable time with us. Though there was a technical glitch, we can't see you. Your image was not available for us. But
Unfortunately.
yeah, unfortunately, but still your presence was proved by your wisdom. So thank you so much, and we will like to see you in many other occasions where you can share your experience and wisdom with us. Thank you so much. I'll
Thank you.
request all the participants to join with me, if possible, with a big round of applause to appreciate the contribution made by our learned faculty and our senior member, Parag Raval sir, to make this webinar successful. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nikamji. You have nicely concluded the session. Really, I appreciate the way in which you have concluded the session. Is wonderful. You have made all the summary. I thank you so much for taking up the question also and posing to me. I thank you, everyone. Thank you, friends. With
Thank
this,
you,
I take your leave, please.
Yeah. Good night to everyone.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.